So the San Francisco 49ers lose once again, this time against the Miami Dolphins. They are officially eliminated from playoff contention, even though it's been that way for the past month, in my opinion. Now, the real question going forward for them is the Brock Purdy situation. Basically, they have to pay Brock Purdy a massive contract because his current contract is set to expire. Now, I've been a Brock Purdy guy since he first was the starter of the 49ers, but the last two, three, 4 games, and I know it's kind of a prisoner of the moment kind of perspective, but at the same time, bro, like if they do pay him this massive, massive contract, his offense is gonna look really similar to what it's looked like the last couple games. Not a lot of great A plus players surrounding him. Brock Purdy is, in my opinion, kind of like a point guard, just kind of like that game manager that only has to make 2 or 3 great throws per game. That's kind of who he is, in my opinion. Also has the ability to make some critical runs on the ground, which is also a good asset he has, but he's not like this crazy arm quarterback that's just gonna put up 300 yards every other week. He's just not that sort of guy, but he is a crafty quarterback. And like I said, I've been a fan of him. It's just the past 2 games, man, have been just really bad. Just leaves an awkward, bad taste in your mouth. That Rams game was atrocious. They should have won that game, and they should have beat the Dolphins a day ago, too. Brock Purdy also did not look great against the Dolphins. He definitely had some plays where it's just like, bro, that's not a top 15 quarterback. A top 15 quarterback wouldn't make that play. And, I think we really got to see how he finishes the last couple of games. They play the Lions and then they play the Cardinals. So if he lays another couple of eggs, some bad performances, I think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have some real soul searching to do in regards of paying him 50, 55 mil per year going forward. I'm curious, Niners fans, how do you feel about Brock Purdy today? Do you still believe in him? Do you not believe in Do you not believe in him? Let me know in the comments below. I'm very, very curious about your thoughts. And, you know, it's tough. It's definitely tough for the Niners going forward. John Lynch is definitely in a pickle because I just for people to have the theory of, oh yeah, McCaffrey's going to be back, for the 2025 year, and Debo's going to be back, and Ayuk is going to be good to go, and, Kittle is going to be there too. I just think that's so naive. Of course, if they do end up paying Brock Purdy, they will probably trade Debo Samuel, which is in their best interest. I feel like he should have got traded a couple years ago to actually get some value back for him because he's definitely past his prime. He scored like 1 touchdown this year. He was never a great wide receiver, but he was an amazing football player, and he has a lot of wear and tear on his tires, but that dude is just very past his prime, and they're probably not going to get much back for him now that other teams have seen that this past year. So he's going to be gone if they pay Brock Purdy. Ayuk is a question mark. I'm sure he'll be good. It's just, again, a bad taste in your mouth after they pay him a massive contract and he comes back to the team, has a lot of drop balls, and doesn't really look that great. So they'll have Ayuk, probably. Now, McCaffrey is still under contract. They paid him in the 2024 offseason, but to expect prime McCaffrey or a version of McCaffrey that we've seen the last couple of years to just be inserted into this team again at the start of the 2025 year is just naive. Tendonitis in both of his Achilles and coming off a PCL injury. Like, are you kidding me? You really think he's going to be as explosive as he's been the last couple of years? You really think he's going to be in contention for offensive player of the year? You really think he's going to be that caliber of player again? You know, those two injuries alone are pretty serious, but he has a pretty illustrious and extensive history injury besides those two. So I just think I just think the wheels have finally fallen off for him. Kyle Shanahan used him completely the past 2-3 years. 20 touches per game. You know, the clock has struck midnight on his body. I just think it's breaking down, and he hypothetically could come back, and maybe he'll have a vintage McCaffrey game here or there. But for him to be this consistent, productive RB that gets 20 carries a game, 20 touches a game, and he looks as explosive as he always looked, that's just not going to happen. There's no way, man. There's no way. So the point I'm trying to make is, if they do end up paying Brock Purdy, the offense, the personnel, it will look similar to how it's looked the past couple weeks. And with that offense, with that personnel, Brock Purdy has not looked good at all. That's why, again, I feel like the last two games here are really critical to really get a full assessment on what the future will potentially look like for the 49ers. Now, me personally, man, I'm definitely leaning against not paying Brock Purdy. I'm really honestly not looking to do that right now. If he turns up the last couple games and he looks good and he shows me something, then, maybe we could get something done. But the last two games have been quite horrendous, and honestly, man, if it were up to me, I'd really try to blow up this roster. I just don't think this team is anywhere close near a Super Bowl, and instead of just paying guys, just do a full-on rebuild. I'd rather blow it all up than pay $55 million to maybe a top 20 quarterback in the league. That's what he's looked like the past couple weeks, and I just want to be interested in that. If I was the GM, if I was the owner of the Niners, you know what, man? It's interesting. I'm sure the Minnesota Vikings will bring back Sam Darnold. It's kind of hard not to with the year they're having. They just keep winning. It's ridiculous. They just keep winning. But, hypothetically, if you were Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, would you rather have Sam Darnold or Brock Purdy? I know Sam has Justin and Jordan Addison. I get that, but still, I'd rather have Sam Darnold at this point. So I'd rather pay Sam Darnold a boatload of money rather than Brock Purdy. But I don't know, man. Either way, 49ers just have a lot of crap to figure out, and I do not envy John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan. And by the way, I feel like Kyle Shanahan's job is safe, even if he drops the last two games of the year. But I'll tell you what, man, if he has another year like this in the 2025 year, I honestly think Jed York will fire him. I don't think they could really afford another year like this, especially if they go all in with Purdy. If they have another year like this, pay Brock Purdy, I think Kyle Shanahan will be gone from the 49ers. But that's a whole other rabbit hole, and we'll see what happens there in the future. Let me know what you think about the Niners, Purdy, and everything else in between. If you made this far, please subscribe. It'd help out your boy a ton. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
Nice job by the offensive line. Powell's got it on the handoff. Good coaching on the defensive side. Everybody stays at home. They stay in their gap, and they hold that run to a short gain. Powell's lined up as the single back. He's tackled beyond the markers. It's a first down. Well, one of the hardest things to do, and I think, in the NFL now is third shortest run the football and pick up yards. That time, nice job on the offensive line. They showed their power, and they picked up the first down. Welcome back, and we're coming out of the 2-minute warning. Easy catch there. No one near him. That's his first reception today. The old-fashioned way of picking up big yardage is running the fly route on the outside. Show the speed of the receiver and the strength of the quarterback's arm. What a nice completion. They're changing things here. The quarterback changing. He's giving the receiver some new instructions. Incompletion here as he was looking over the middle.